Greetings, everybody, from the Sunshine State. It is USL Super League coverage presented by All Year Cooling and Plumbing as Fort Lauderdale United play host to Lexington SC. Sean St. Jacques, the Hall of Famer, Christine Huber, our entire crew, happy to have you with us here on Peacock. We begin by looking at the standings, brought to you by Delta Airlines, and the live table shows that Lexington have some room to grow right now in the table.
Spokane just coming off a victory and gaining 3 points, jumping all the way up to 6th place.
Fort Lauderdale have been in one of their best veins of form of the season on either side of the break. They're looking to get into the top 4, and they're on a run of 4 without defeat.
Hamid and McCain is one of the reasons, or 2 of the reasons why they are scoring so many goals. They have been in form and have been scoring 2 goals in each of the last 4 games.
They have 12 goals combined, and Addie McCain, of course, is the Golden Boot leader at the moment. Fort Lauderdale had a little bit of a hiccup before the winter break. They've come out rolling out of it.
They really have, and they're hoping to come away today and get another 3 points.
No surprise who we're highlighting. Tonight's player to watch is brought to you by Baptist Health, and it's the Golden Boot leader, Addie McCain.
Such a pure scorer. She has confidence, she shows comfort on the ball, and she has the ability to score from anywhere.
She's been doing it early and often in this first season in the USL Super League. She's gone wire to wire as well as the Golden Boot leader. Now for Lexington, it's kind of been a tale as old as time. They can score, that hasn't been the problem. It's been the defensive side of the game that continues to need improvement.
They need to tighten up their defensive ability. They need to get in closer, they need to close the gaps, and they also need to communicate more to stop teams from scoring on them.
We talked earlier this week with interim coach Maren McCrary. She told us that the big focus was to add on to that clean sheet category. On the other side of things, though, Hannah Richardson's been in really good form, and Lexington do continue to score goals.
3 goals in the last 2 matches. She has the green light to shoot from anywhere, and she can score from anywhere, and she will continue to score. Let's see how she's going to be able to contribute tonight.
It's a really important game for both teams, really. With Richardson in form, Lexington are hoping to come to South Florida and get a really important 3 points and jump up a couple of places in the table. Fort Lauderdale United also have a chance to jump up a few places in the table if they can defend home turf tonight. Starting to get that playoff picture sorted out in the USL Super League. Both teams need it, and we'll have the kickoff from South Florida coming up next on Peacock.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. We love our Florida sunshine, but a hot house? Definitely not. At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. 0 down financing? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us today at 833-ALL-YEAR. That's 833-ALL-YEAR.
Corbin and defending. Ramirez is in behind the keeper and scores!
Richardson tapped home.
Bedoya launches and tucks it into the top right-hand corner. Whoa! Say man by Hope Heisey.
I said I'd rather be famous instead. You're more than a superstar.
Tonight's player walkout is presented by Amaranth Bank. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew. Happy to have you with us here on Peacock, about to get things started between Fort Lauderdale United and Lexington SC. Huge game for both teams in the USL Super League table. Brad Jensen's our head official tonight. He took both captains through the coin toss, which is presented by Beyond Bankard. Thrilled to see how this one's going to play out, Christine. And we dive into the LaCroix starting lineups. We begin with Tyrone Mears and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we see McCain sitting there in the center mid. She's actually going to try and get forward. She's going to get on the ends of the crosses coming in from Hamid and Gordon. And keep an eye out on Ansbrough, a new signing here for Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale coming in 21 points, 4 home wins, hoping to defend home turf again tonight. Coaching debut for Marion McCrary, promoted from the assistant to the interim head coach. Here's her first starting 11 in charge.
Here it is, and you see Parsons sitting up top, leading the league in goal contributions. That's goals, assists. She's a big part and a big reason why Lexington scores those goals.
Yeah, she's got a double nickel, 5 goals, 5 assists to lead Lexington. You think Marion McCrary's fired up? You better believe it.
Get it.
College head coach, Olympic development program head coach in her time as a professional. And she told us earlier this week how proud she is to lead this group out as the interim head coach tonight. But she said 2 things that are the priority: win the game, keep a clean sheet. That's something Lexington need to solve.
And it's the clean sheet that's going to be the big issue for this Lexington team. Let's see if they can come out and do it today.
Tyrone Mears and his side have figured some things out during the break. They're now 4 unbeaten. It's one of the best runs, if not the best run of form they've had this season. They could go 5 unbeaten tonight and potentially jump up to as high as 2nd place in the table, pending goal differential. Fort Lauderdale are in all blue. Lexington are in white with the green shorts, and we are underway from South Florida. Here on Peacock, Lexington are going from left to right. We cannot wait to see how this one unfolds. Lexington are now at the bottom of the table. They didn't start the day there, but they are now after a big win by Spokane earlier this evening. They're looking to get a couple of places back in the table up the channel. And Fort Lauderdale are in behind here. An early shot is saved by Bridget Skiba, as Fort Lauderdale, of course, have a chance to jump up a few spots tonight. Good start from the hosts.
Yeah, good attack there. Transitioning off of winning the ball defensively, and what speed and pace with the ball.
3rd all-time meeting between Fort Lauderdale and Lexington. The series is tied 1 apiece. The last time they met was in October of last year, October 19th. To be precise, Addie McCain, no surprise, scored in the game. Half of her goals this season have actually come against Lexington. But Maddie Parsons, a very impressive brace. Lexington left South Florida as 2-1 winners last time they were here. Fort Lauderdale forced to go all the way back to Cosette Morche, who gets the start for United in goal tonight. Fort Lauderdale's 6 wins this season. 4 of them have come at home, just 2 defeats. Chance to find that incisive pass for Parsons, who follows up nicely and just about keeps it in play for Lexington. Continues to fight for it, Parsons, and as she was able to cross it, the ball did leak over the end line. It's a goal kick. I'll give us a chance to look at tonight's keys to the game. They're presented by Amarant Bank. Christine, we begin with Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, they need to dictate the tempo today. They need to attack this Lexington defense. I'd like to see them use combo plays to get in and behind that defense. Look for them to continue to make pressure and capitalize on Lexington's mistakes.
And for Lexington, we kind of hammered the nail quite a few times.
Defense, defense, defense. Defend all over the field. Faster decisions.
Could be a chance here for Fort Lauderdale. Leaked past McCain. The shot was blocked on the edge of the penalty area, recovered by Raji. Maybe a chance here. Shania Gordon, who's had a good season to this point, recycles the attack. This is Taylor Smith with some time and space. And she tried to thread the needle on the edge of the penalty area. Lexington will clear it. Far side controlled by Delaney Lindahl initially. And then the switch is actually cut out, and Fort Lauderdale forced to retreat to Laurel Ansbrough, who we're excited to see more of tonight for Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be one of the interesting talking points for these next few weeks. Some teams, most teams, new additions, obviously Lexington, new coach. All of these things are going to start coming to fruition and then coming under the microscope. How is it impacting the teams? Are teams getting better? Are the players making an impact? It's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds after our first winter break.
And this weekend, with all of the teams playing, all 8 teams playing, but 13 players missing on international duty, comes into play this weekend.
That affects our game as well. The young Shin is away with South Korea on international duty. So great thing for the league, great exposure for the players and things of that nature, but teams will have to adjust and some players will have to get more minutes than normal.
They need to step up, right? If you're losing a big international star, now it's time for the other players to step up and fill those shoes, prove their worth.
Last time out for Lexington, a tough 2-1 defeat against Carolina. And Aaron McCreary talked about how that own goal really sucked the life out of the team. It happened in the early moments, first 3 minutes of the game, and they never quite recovered after that. They did get a goal back at one point later on, but Carolina held them off, and they want to show what they're capable of tonight with a new coach in charge.
Giving up a goal that early just completely takes your game plan and throws it in the trash bucket. I mean, they had to make so many adjustments, and glad they were able to come out with the point to get the equalizer.
On Fort Lauderdale, a 2-2 draw a couple of weeks ago against Tampa Bay, a Sunshine State battle there. Hamid and Gordon actually scored within 5 minutes of each other in the second half to help Fort Lauderdale at least salvage a point from what was a very tightly contested game. Before the throw-in is to be taken here, Brad Jensen, who's our head official, 1 or 2 words to the players near the ball here. There's been a lot of transition just in the last 24 to 48 hours for Lexington, and one of the players who's been really helpful and leading the team has been Claire Winter. She got a shout out from Aaron McCreary in our conversation with the interim coach earlier in the week. So did Shay Moyer as well, for just kind of helping the team along and keeping everyone focused in training and really kind of keeping the eyes on the prize. Yes, a lot of this stuff's happening off the field. We need to control what happens on the field.
What's crazy about this Super League is it's only halfway through, or just over halfway, right? So whatever happened in the fall, you can almost put it behind you, knowing that everyone is so close in that playoff race, and really, it's anyone's chance as we start this spring season.
You just look at 2nd to 5th in particular, just 2 points separating those 4 teams. That's in and around the playoff line. Certainly Fort Lauderdale would love nothing more than to get a victory tonight and make up ground on the likes of Tampa Bay, Carolina, Dallas losing earlier tonight to Spokane. What a huge win for Zephyr. That was a much needed road win that they've been craving for a long, long time. They were able to go to the Cotton Bowl and win it by 1-0 earlier tonight. Another foray forward here for Fort Lauderdale. An attempt at a give and go there, broken up. Lindahl tries to keep it going. Gordon as well. Lindahl steps back in to win possession. Clipping it into the penalty area. It was nudged down for Hamid, but it goes wide of Skiba's goal and out of play.
You can see Lexington doing a good job defensively, just closing those gaps, eliminating those through balls by Fort Lauderdale. But then they tend to give it up, right? And then Fort Lauderdale's right back down, heading down their throat. So that's where they have to clean it up. They do a great job at that first pressure, but now they have to win that second ball.
Tonight's injury report is presented by Baptist Health. We were briefly talking, Sarah Cox also not listed here, not 100%. Fort Lauderdale seemed to be close, if not at 100% right now. Lexington, a few players sort of in and out at the moment, but they certainly have the core group there that can get the job done.
They really do. Both these teams are in a good position right now as far as injuries and international players leaving.
which sometimes can feel like an injury when you don't have
Yeah,
some of your best
exactly.
players
I mean,
there.
Obviously, they're an international player for a reason, right? They're one of the best in the world, and when they leave the pitch, it's hard to fill those boots.
And we touched on it earlier, but Nayoung Shin's a perfect example of that's played in pretty much all the games Lexington have had, is an important key player at the back, can get involved in the final third as well. But you talked about it earlier, next player up.
And that's the mentality, and that's what every team needs to have.
Parsons looks to lead Lexington forward. Here's a nice little give and go on the far side. Fort Lauderdale not quite able to clear it there. Vernus picks up the pieces here, and it's a full Lexington reset. Nearly 10 minutes in, haven't had a ton from Lexington in the final third yet. Near side, Courtney Jones will settle for a throw. That's what's so interesting about the Fort Lauderdale side of things. Tyrone Mears, you see him there. They went through a tough stretch towards the end of the first half of the season. Questions started to come up. Are they going to be able to basically figure this out? And they've started to figure it out. I think that's fair to say.
I think that's a perfect example as well, that they're in a good position right now.
4 unbeaten coming into tonight. 3 of those were wins, and Fort Lauderdale have a chance to find the opening goal here. It's a tight angle for the shot, and it goes into the side netting. Great effort by Kiara Locklear just to get there and try to make something happen. The outcome is a goal kick.
Just a little too much of a heavy touch here. Just that last touch just got away from her feet, unable to get her hips around to get a quality cross or shot off.
2 players are bearing down on Locklear. It almost looked like a lost cause. She was still able to get the shot away from a tight angle. Nice job by Parsons to win the header in traffic. Jones forced to backtrack. Ball is clipped up ahead and the header is nudged along, again by Parsons. But Fort Lauderdale, well, initially had it under control, and now there's a chance to chase it on the far side with Lindahl. Morshea. Assesses the scene and clips it onto this near side. Hamid tried to touch it past Jones, who was all over it. And Fort Lauderdale pick up the pieces with Smith, who then does give it away. Jones harried and did get the ball away, but she was tripped up, and it's a Lexington free kick.
Her first step, her first touch with the ball is so fast. That's why she's able to turn the corner. Tried to split those 2 defenders there, but got tripped up.
Ball's clipped towards the edge of the penalty area. Again, Parsons able to get ahead to that in traffic. Winter follows up. Parsons on the near side. Forced to go to the byline. Actually comes off the assistant, and it's out for a throw. Couple of good early chances for Fort Lauderdale. Lexington now trying to make some headway in the final third. Parsons collapsed upon, dispossessed. Fortuitous bounce allows Lexington to continue their attacking play.
See how much attention Parsons gets around her. Every time she has the ball, it's 2 or 3 Fort Lauderdale defenders.
She scored an amazing turn and curling finish at this end of the pitch the last time Lexington were here, so I think it's fair to say Fort Lauderdale learned their lesson and they don't want her to have the ball anywhere near the 18-yard box.
You're any team, don't let her anywhere near the box.
Of course, Addie McCain is the league's leading goal scorer, but we mentioned it earlier. Maddie Parsons, 5 goals, 5 assists. That's the most goal contributions of any player in the USL Super League this season. It's just been a really big reason why Lexington are still hanging around in this playoff conversation. Near side, Hamid, who's also been excellent in the goal-scoring category for Fort Lauderdale this season, and she is fouled. It's going to be a free kick. This puts Fort Lauderdale in a good spot to possibly create something via a set piece. Tyrone Mears and Ali Rogers looking on. We've had a few conversations with Ali this season. There's just high expectations around this team. That's put on by the staff and the players to try and meet. And from the free kick, it was towards McCain, who may have gotten the slightest of touches on it, but Skiba gets it off the ricochet.
It's a nice ball in, too. Nice lofted, just no one really able to get a good clean touch on it for Fort Lauderdale.
We talked about Fort Lauderdale learning their lesson with Maddie Parsons. Well, Lexington with Addie McCain has also been a very interesting matchup. We talked about it earlier. Half of McCain's goals this season, 4 of 8, have come at Lexington's expense. Meanwhile, Richardson, who's really impressed since joining the Lexington roster, able to lay it off, and there could be some space to work with here on the near side. It opens up nicely for Jones initially. Jones then down the line. Fort Lauderdale do a nice job staying in their shape, and it's out for a quick throw. Lovely give and go between Parsons and Jones, and then it's a fair challenge, says the referee, on the edge of the penalty area. McCain emerges with possession. Promising bit of build-up there, but Fort Lauderdale snuff it out. McCain around the corner, not quite on the same page, and that's a giveaway. One of the things we touched on at the top, Lexington this season, 21 goals scored. That's the joint best in the league this season. Dallas and Tampa Bay, the other 2 teams in the live table that have scored that many. Hannah Richardson is a big reason why as of late, but the cross into the middle, as well placed as it was to nobody in particular.
Not a bad ball, just nobody making that run from the outside right flank to get on the back end of it.
It's been that other side of the game as well for Lexington. We talked about it, 32 goals conceded. Not to hammer home the point, but nobody else in the Super League has more than 18 goals conceded so far this season. But the thing is, Maren McCreary knows it, all the players know it. It's about putting it to an end.
Needs to stop tonight. Their goal is to get a shutout, get a clean sheet. And one of the things they need to focus on, playing a bit quicker, right? Realizing what the play is, making that decision and going hard into it. Don't hesitate on that decision.
Here's Richardson, trying to cut it back before crossing it. Ends up being stifled there. And then that challenge that comes in from Locklear allows Fort Lauderdale to get it back. You know, Christine, it's a great point that you bring up. Maren McCreary talked about that being one of the main issues defensively for Lexington, just not being crisp enough with the decision-making and the mental side of things.
And we've talked to a lot of coaches this season around the league, and the number one thing they all agree on, the players here are fast, they make fast decisions, they make fast plays. And so you need that adjustment. You have to be able to react to that.
It feels odd saying that now, but that was something that at the beginning of the season, people were not expecting to see, yet pretty much every team has 3 or 4 really, really swift players.
Yeah, and again, it's not even just the physicality, right? It's the mentality. It's how fast they're thinking at this next level. This is high-level women's soccer.
McCain forced to retreat there, and then it's clipped onto this near side looking initially for Hamid. It's going to be shepherded out of play by Jones.
If you're keeping track of scores around the league, Tampa Bay just took a lead on Brooklyn, a 1-0. Brooklyn sitting at the top of the table. It's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, that's got big implications on not just the top, but the top 4 as well. And that's going to become more and more of a conversation as these weeks and months go by. This second half of the season, as a bit of a wrestling match broke out there. Winter and McCain tangled up. Fort Lauderdale get the ball. That's why this one matters so much for Fort Lauderdale as well. Again, pending, Fort Lauderdale wins tonight, pending the amount of goals they win by, they could jump up 2, possibly 3 places in the table tonight. So quite a bit of movement we've seen already, and that could continue quite a bit pending on who wins this game. And of course, who wins the game going on between Tampa and Brooklyn. Another one to watch because it seems like no one can beat Brooklyn at the moment, but we'll see if the Sun can do just that tonight.
So much parity in the league from top to bottom. You're watching a team like Spokane is before tonight's game, bottom of the table, and you're watching them and they're putting it to the number 2 team in the league. And they made it look easy.
Multiple teams can attest to how tough it's been to go to the Cotton Bowl and get a result this season. Spokane do just that. The Trinity have been very tough in the state of Texas this season. But Zephyr come out with a huge result for them. And again, that jumps them up to 6th in the table for now, pending our result
right
here,
now.
Of course. It's always very fluid when we get to this part of the season. It's lovely build-up play here from Fort Lauderdale. Slipped through for Gordon on the far side. McCain was asking for it. Gordon tried to cross it. It's blocked and cleared.
Better defense right there from Lexington, right? Even though they were split on the outside and far away from the goal mouth.
Another ball clipped into the edge of the penalty area. Lexington have more work to do here defensively, and the referee blows it dead. It's a free kick. Well, gives us a chance to take a look at Fort Lauderdale United's upcoming schedule. It's presented by Visit Fort Lauderdale. Of course, the games are all on Peacock. They go to Carolina Ascent on Sunday, March 2nd. That's a 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Tough games just keep on coming. You talked about it earlier, Christine. It's such a deep league. And one other fact that sort of highlights that, Lexington in 7th right now. Spokane began the day in 8th. They're up to 6th. Lexington could go back into 6th with a win. And DCU started the day in 6th, could end the day in 8th.
Until they play tomorrow.
Until they play tomorrow.
And if they get a win, they jump back up.
So much moving and shaking in the Super League table. From the corner, it's going to be flicked on and right back out again. Corners are presented by All Year Cooling and Plumbing. And we'll get another All Year Cooling and Plumbing corner from the opposite end. Vernus will stand over it. Can Lexington, slightly against the run of play here with an all-year cooling and plumbing corner, grab the lead? Very congested at that near post. That's where Vernus aims it. Fort Lauderdale had it covered initially. It's headed back centrally. And Fort Lauderdale United get it clear. And it was just touched away before Hamid could break free.
Hamid has such long strides. You get her in the run of the play, she is so fast.
Richardson tried to switch the play to Shepard, and then it's crossed back into the middle, looking for Wisniewski, out for another Lexington corner.
Last 10 or 15 minutes been good work by Lexington.
Yeah, I would say Marion McCrary's got to be encouraged by what she has seen. Can they pay it off with another corner here? It's coming off the heels of a good stretch from Fort Lauderdale at times in the final third, but Lexington managed it well. Vernus will try another corner, completely different looking routine, and it leads to a free header in the middle of the penalty area, but Shepard finds Morshea.
That scrum in front of the goal can be so confusing, and especially if you can shield the goalkeeper.
Well, there was a foul there. Shania Gordon was brought down, actually wanted advantage to be played. She's telling that to Brad Jensen right now, but it's going to be a free kick for Fort Lauderdale. Sydney Shepard, of course, scored the winning goal for Lexington in their first ever Super League win, all the way back when, against Spokane on the road, back at the beginning months of the season. Now it's Fort Lauderdale's turn up the other end here via a set piece opportunity. You can see there Lexington leading in final third entries so far. Fort Lauderdale's ball clipped in, and again it was a chance in the middle. Hamid tried to head it goalwards, not able to do so, and it will bounce back out for a throw. Lindahl takes it, looks for McCain, and it does fall for an opportunity for Locklear. It goes wide.
She was able to get a little bit of a foot on it, but just not enough angle to keep it in bounds.
And Locklear has scored twice in the Super League this season. Has had two pretty good chances tonight, albeit tough with the angle against her. And Skiba eventually will clear the lines for Lexington. Parsons has done a really good job battling for headers in the middle of the park. Settles down the possession for the moment, but as soon as I say that, she does give it away. Fort Lauderdale looked to build ahead. Grasso forced back.
Lexington playing some low pressure defense right now, giving Fort Lauderdale that half, their half of the field. And that's going to enable them to get back, right? Get everyone back and behind the ball.
It was up for grabs briefly there. Wisniewski helps Lexington briefly win it back, but again, they can't keep it in the middle of the park. It allows Fort Lauderdale to reset with the attack. Locklear around the corner, was not quite able to pick out Gordon, just a little bit too much on it.
That's some nice build-up play there. I'd like Fort Lauderdale when they're driving with the ball at their feet and attacking these Lexington defenders. As soon as that defender comes and commits, then they can do a little flick pass.
throw-in for Lexington as we tell you that Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Super League and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. I think both coaches, Coach Tyrone Mears and interim coach Maren McCrary, I feel like they could both say that they've been encouraged by the first 30 minutes. The only thing the game has been lacking has been some clear-cut opportunities. I think you could say that on both ends.
Both teams have had positive chances, and they're keeping the ball, they're keeping possession.
Oh, lovely run here from Grosso, and she was clipped by Winter. And the referee goes immediately to the front pocket. Winter picks up a booking.
Fair enough card there. You cannot tackle from behind. The player's already by Winter, and she decides to go for the late challenge from behind. Yeah, I mean, honestly, she's lucky that it's not something a little more than just a yellow card. A little unnecessary there by Winter.
Winter into the referee's book. 15 minutes to go in the half. Winter tracking Grosso again, who took a weird hop off the ground. Morshea now involved. Ooh, and it was closed down by Richardson, but Morshea gets it away. Tries to find Locklear. It actually almost rolled all the way through to her. But Autumn Weeks is on the scene to deal with it for Lexington. It's cleared up field.
And that's going to be the problem. If Lexington's going to play that high defensive pressure, it's going to open up the space, it's going to open the gaps and the alleys, and Fort Lauderdale is going to recognize that.
Another chance for Fort Lauderdale, snuffed out. Lexington again, holding down the fort defensively. And Maren McCrary told us, didn't really leave any of the, well, I'll put it this way, she was blunt. She was very blunt. She said, have to defend better everywhere on the field, is a direct quote from what she said, and so far, they have done that in a much more improved way, I would say.
Yeah, all over the pitch, and they have to go back to basics, right? Pressure, cover, balance. You pressure the ball, your next player, your next defender steps in cover, and then they all fall behind for the balance part of it. You've got to go back to basics, because they're not a bad squad. They can obviously score goals, they can keep possession, they can knock the ball about, it's just they keep conceding goals.
McCain tried to thread the needle there to Locklear, not quite able to pick her out. The one other thing that Maren McCrary said that hasn't quite come to fruition yet, she said, when we get turnovers, we have to be quick in transition, get into the attack, and then you hinted at it earlier, making better decisions in the final third. That's still developing here tonight.
Better and faster decisions as well.
Out for a throw on the far side. Winter's pressure there was good. Lexington briefly had it. And in the next sentence, it's given away. Here's McCain, and it's a brilliant challenge by Vernus, who wins it right back for Lexington. Good hold-up play by Parsons. Richardson gets involved on the far side. 3 goals in her last 2 games. Falls kindly for Parsons, and then Parsons dispossessed. Grosso for Hamid. Fort Lauderdale again trying to build down that far sideline. Not much to work with there. More pressure from Lexington and another turnover. This is where Maren McCreary wants them to really turn it up a few notches. Richardson takes on the shot. And it was a bit ambitious, and it goes into the second row of the seats.
We said Richardson has the green light, and she sure does. She will shoot from anywhere. She shows us there. I like this acceleration, though, out of Richardson. She sees the space, she takes the space. She probably could have attacked a little more or looked to lay off for a better opportunity, but certainly not shabby at all.
One of the symptoms of good form is confidence. I think that was a pretty confident run from Richardson.
Sure is.
Ansbro. Triangular passing out of the near side. Grosso involved again. And then did follow through there. But Weeks had it for Lexington. She loses out to Hamid. And Fort Lauderdale get possession back. Raji trying to spread it out to the far side. A lovely little infield pass to Lindahl. Delayed give and go. Back to Gordon. Shania Gordon going to the byline. It's a wonderful run, and it's cleared out for a throw-in.
And look at how many Lexington defenders are back behind the ball. Everybody's in the box.
From the throw. Gordon lets it slip by. And in the end, Vernus emerges for Lexington. Gets it up the field quickly. Lovely turn by Parsons into space. Tries to keep it going, cuts it back. One more cut back. Richardson was involved. Lovely skill there from Parsons. She's still going. And then finally, Fort Lauderdale take it off her. Lexington can move it forward again off the miscue. Winter. A reverse ball there, played in lovely to Jones, and then Jones loses out as she tried to get to the penalty area.
Jones so fast, she forgot the ball.
Middle of the park, Raji. Fort Lauderdale again put on the brakes for a moment to reset. It's definitely had a little bit of a chess match kind of feel. No one trying to fully show their hands in this first half.
Yeah, everyone is just kind of composed, chilled, relaxed.
This could open up here, though, for Fort Lauderdale. There is time and space here. Great ball fluttered out to the far side for Gordon. First time ball in for Locklear. But she couldn't quite square up the header, and it's wide for a throw-in the end on the near side.
It's a nice build-up here by Fort Lauderdale, just finding the open players in the outside flanks. Nice little ball into the box, but a tough one to finish from that angle, especially on your head.
For Fort Lauderdale, with Hamid and Gordon and McCain, it's been Locklear who's had their best chances in this first half. And all the way back to Morche as Fort Lauderdale mull over their next wave of attack. Looks like Tampa Bay still leading Brooklyn in the other game at the moment. That certainly has huge implications at the top of the Super League. And again, Spokane earlier, for those that missed it, on Peacock, beating Dallas in Dallas by 1-0 at the Cotton Bowl. Chance to cross this into the middle for Locklear. And Skiba reads it really well and makes the catch in traffic.
Dangerous cross in there by Fort Lauderdale. Skiba, good job recognizing it, coming off and just protecting that near post. It's a nice ball in.
And pressure here from Fort Lauderdale leads to a takeaway. McCain. Gordon lays it off, and the shot is skied over the top by Taylor Smith.
Lexington, with those mental mistakes, those errors in the back can be very costly.
Maybe the first real self-inflicted mistake from Lexington tonight, and they were let off the hook.
Yeah, they were not punished for it. But besides that one little slip up, I think they've done well defensively.
You just saw Marin McCrary again a moment ago. Long way to go in this game, but so far, much, much better. She gave a lot of credit to Fort Lauderdale on our pre-match talk with her earlier in the week. Talked about their pace, obviously the names we've talked about, Hamid, Gordon, McCain, they all came up. And so far, she's been able, with her team's effort, to hold them at bay. Ticking down on the final 5 minutes plus stoppages here in South Florida. Pass to the near side, Grosso couldn't keep it going. Vernes looks to get Lexington back on the front foot here, and there's time and space up ahead for Shea Moyer to run into. Parsons to her left. Richardson's queuing up, Wisniewski as well. Parsons back from Moyer. Gordon forces Moyer to turn away from the penalty area, and it's a long distance bender, more of a shot in the end than a cross. Wisniewski was near it. Shea collects it.
If that's supposed to be a cross or a pass, has to be bent probably either the other way or just a little further out. I think the idea was a cross, but like you said, it wound up being a shot to Shea.
On near side again, trying to pick out Hamid. She couldn't keep it in play. In front of the Lexington bench, the visitors have a throw. Still time for one of these two teams to get some big-time momentum right before the end of the first half. Wisniewski tried to force it through to Winter. One back by Raji. Played up ahead by Lindahl, just over Locklear's head. Vernes has it for Lexington. And then McCain's pressure does force the pass, but it does find Richardson. Richardson for Parsons, and Parsons tried to cut it back. Grosso was having none of it. Let's see what Lexington can come up with here from the throw. They go short to Parsons, and in the end it was off Parsons. It's a goal kick.
Jones is not happy with that call.
It was very, very quick from our vantage point. Tough to tell definitively, but she thought it was last off of Fort Lauderdale. Didn't get the decision. Again, Fort Lauderdale looking to build as we get towards these final couple of minutes. This one goes over the top. Can Gordon keep it in play? Yes, she can. Shania Gordon looking to cut to the byline. Still keeping possession here. Lays it off. McCain. She lays it off for Lindahl. McCain again, battling with Moyer. Lindahl emerges with it, but then Lexington have it on the far side. A chance for them to break up the other end here. More numbers joining into the attack, but the pass comes up short, and Grosso collects.
But how about that Lexington defense, huh?
They get another takeaway. Nice move initially to dodge the challenge by Richardson. Wisniewski to her right, Parsons to her left. Richardson will shoot. It takes a big ricochet out for another corner. Just another glimpse of what Hannah Richardson brings to the table for Lexington, and she wins them another all-year cooling and plumbing corner as we're in the final minute of normal time at the end of the half.
I love how Richardson is just attacking this defense on the dribble.
Vernus will take the all-year cooling and plumbing corner here. Lexington have provided a few different looks from set pieces, although Vernus comes up short on the corner, but she'll get a mulligan.
We'll do it again.
And Lexington may adjust what they do here from the set piece. We're told this might be the last major act of the half here. And from the corner, it's a glancing header onto the roof of Morche's net. And we're told that that indeed will be that. No stoppage time at the end of the first half, and it's a stalemate with 45 minutes to play.
It sure is. Both teams going back and forth. No real major goal-scoring opportunities. It is a chess match so far.
Lexington must feel much more encouraged with their defensive side of things, and there were some positives for Fort Lauderdale as well.
Yeah, it's turning into a defensive battle, which you wouldn't really think with the goal scorers that each team has.
And there were 3 goals between these two last time around. This has been a much more calculated matchup between these two. In the third all-time meeting, these two have split the prior 2. Lexington, who won the last time they were here in October, are hoping they can recreate some of that South Florida magic here tonight. But I'm sure Tyrone Mears has to be relatively encouraged by what he has seen as well in this first half. So we'll see how it plays out in the second half. Again, it's 0-0 here. Both teams had some moments. Both teams had some opportunities as well. The likes of Hannah Richardson making things happen at times for Lexington. And of course, a lot of attention paid to Addie McCain on the other side of things from a Fort Lauderdale United perspective. Well, we get a chance before we send it off to break. At the end of the half, we get a chance to catch up with interim coach for Lexington, Maren McCrary. She is kind enough to give us a few moments of her time. Maren, thanks so much for taking a few minutes with us here at the start of the second half. What did you take away so far from those first 45 minutes?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the effort we've seen so far. The ladies are doing a great job of executing our game plan like we've wanted so far. We're going to make some adjustments at halftime, but so far they're executing the things that we've asked them to do.
One of your team goals today was to get a shutout. Right now, Fort Lauderdale has not scored on you. How do you feel so far about that first half defensive-wise?
I feel great about that first half, you know. I feel
you should.
We put a lot of emphasis on our defensive work and keeping a strong offense like Fort Lauderdale has out of our box and out of our goal. I feel pretty good about this right now.
Maren, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes. Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Really excited to see how this one's gonna play out in the second 45 minutes. 0-0 at the half here on Peacock, with both of these teams hoping to vault a few places up the USL Super League table. We'll look around the league in more ways than one. Coming up at the break here in South Florida, it is Fort Lauderdale 0, it's Lexington 0 here on Peacock.
New flavors, the same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador, spiked bebidas.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
With over 2 decades of experience in the payment industry, Beyond Bankcard is more than just a payment processor. We are a partner dedicated to your success. Our mission is simple: to provide innovative, flexible payment processing solutions tailored to meet your needs.
We partner up with various companies, restaurants, retail, smoke shops, convenience store, you name it, we have the POS system for it.
Whether it's tools we provide or the relationships we nurture, Beyond Bankcard is here to power your payment solutions.
What does it mean to feel welcome? To not only be cared for, but to be cared about, to trust. At Baptist Health, this is the warmer side of care. So welcome to being treated with a human touch, where your best interest is our best interest. Here, we advance innovation and treatments through research while educating the next generation of experts close to home. Welcome to the warmer side of care. Welcome to Baptist Health.
Nobody wants a new roof, but when a storm hits, it's about protecting what matters most. With over 30 years of experience and 3 generations of roofing professionals, Florida Coast Contracting and Roofing is the name families trust to safeguard their homes. No matter the size, scope, or style of the project, Florida Coast Contracting and Roofing brings unmatched expertise, precision, and care to every single roof we touch. Our family, here for your family, every step of the way.
Tonight's halftime is presented by iHeartRadio. Back here in South Florida, it's Fort Lauderdale United 0, Lexington 0 in the USL Super League here on Peacock. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew. Chance to take a look around the USL Super League with our news and notes. And, well, Christine, we touched on this earlier. 13 Super League players have been called up to international duty in this FIFA window.
Only one during the game right now. Tomorrow, DC has 5 players that are away for international duty. They're going to be a bit light.
That's big for the league, but of course, like you said, it impacts the here and now as far as some of the results. And speaking of results, Brooklyn are playing right now. It's 1-1 between them and Tampa Bay Sun. They're trying to keep their unbeaten run. As we look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Delta Airlines, Brooklyn literally just scored a couple of minutes before we threw this graphic up. And of course, Christine, huge win in the Lone Star State for Spokane Zephyr earlier tonight.
Pulling it off at the Cotton Bowl, Spokane has the upset win. Number 8 beats number 2. And Spokane, all of a sudden, as of right now, in 6th place.
Really, really interesting to see how our game will impact the table as well. Well, of course, Anna Whitty and Marion Crowder every week, they host the USL Super League Game Week podcast. Let's hear a little bit more about what they have coming up next week in the newest episode.
We've got national team call-ups, player debuts, and plenty of exciting news to discuss.
Mia Corbin makes it count. It's 2-0.
Plus, our special guest joins the show to tell us why she chose soccer over softball, and she breaks down the reality show that is plaguing the league.
Well, can't wait to see what Anna, and Marion have to discuss. I will say I have it on good authority that Mia Corbin may make an appearance on the next episode of USL Super League Game Week. We'll step aside for now. More to come from Florida next. Let's jump into our halftime highlights presented by Blue Water Books and Charts. Sean and Christine back here with you, and well, we had a chance inside the first minute
Fort Lauderdale making a quick attack here with Locklear, but unable to find any open net.
We sort of hinted at it earlier, not a ton of big chances, but early on, Fort Lauderdale had the bulk of them.
They really did, and this is really the end of what we've seen for Fort Lauderdale's offensive attack. This one sliding shot on goal really hasn't been too much, as we see Skiba protecting her near post there.
Jumping ahead a bit, and we saw Lexington with a series of corners.
Yeah, not too much from Lexington either, especially for a team that scores a lot of goals in the season. They have not had the opportunity to do so tonight.
Look at the Beyond Bankered halftime stats, and only 3 shots on target between the two teams. I don't think many expected that before this one. 2 really high-powered attacks have been kept at bay. Lexington in search of that second clean sheet of the season. They're halfway there. Fort Lauderdale hoping to pick up a 5th home win of the season tonight. Well, we'll step aside for a moment. About to get the second half beginning here in Florida. 0-0, both teams trying to vault a few spots up the table. Second half's coming up next. Welcome back, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew. 0-0 is the score here on Peacock between Fort Lauderdale and Lexington. Lexington did make a halftime substitution. Emma Johnson is in. Grace Wisniewski makes way for the visitors. Fort Lauderdale get the second half started. They're in all blue, going from left to right here on Peacock. 0-0 after a very defensively dominant first half from both teams. Obviously, we talked with Maren McCrary. Big smile on her face as far as the defensive side goes. Now we see if either of these two teams can start to break out a little bit more in the final third.
Yeah, she was very happy with her defensive production, as she should be. There's really only one little mistake that they had, but besides that, all their players are getting back and behind the ball. It was a great team effort.
Substitutions brought to you by Omega XL Sport, confirming the Johnson for Wisniewski change for Lexington. Fort Lauderdale with the same 11 for Coach Tyrone Mears and company. Parsons tried to find Hannah Richardson, who really had some bright and promising moments in that first half for Lexington. Fort Lauderdale, really, as we expected, been using the likes of Jasmine Hamid and Shania Gordon on those outside wings to try and make things happen and find teammates in the middle. Although we talk about Addie McCain a lot, Kiara Locklear probably came the closest on multiple occasions for Fort Lauderdale in that first half.
Tonight, she definitely did. And don't forget, in the last 4 matches, Fort Lauderdale has scored 2 goals in each game. So that's something to keep an eye on, right? 45 minutes left. Can they still get 2 more goals?
Offside flag goes up there. Well, to be fair, against Tampa Bay, Fort Lauderdale only needed 5 minutes of time to score twice, so it is possible. Finished in a 2-2 draw last time out against their in-state rivals, who are now locked in a 1-1 battle currently with Brooklyn as we speak. Brooklyn trying to keep their unbeaten run going at the top of the table. Lovely feed, meanwhile, near side, Shania Gordon. Early cross into the middle, and Skiba is able to get there before the arriving Hamid.
That's not what Gordon wanted to do. I think she was looking to put a low, hard ball just across and through the box, but mishit it.
It's clipped up ahead on a reversal initially by Mackin. Now Richardson forced to retreat. And then that pass is cut out nicely by Daria Raji. Raji thought better of trying to force a pass through to Locklear, and it's a full reset for Fort Lauderdale United. Ball's clipped over the top, looking for Maddie Parsons, and she does get there. She's been holding up the play at times really well for Lexington tonight. She's been doing for a big chunk of this season. The attack's not quite done yet. Moyer picks up the pieces here. And then Furness loses out to McCain. A chance for Fort Lauderdale maybe to break, although they don't quite have the numbers. Locklear. Right back to McCain. It's Addie McCain. It's marvelous. Addie McCain doing what she does best. Scoring goals in the USL Super League. It's her 9th of the season. It's her 5th against Lexington. And Fort Lauderdale have the early second half breakthrough.
And credit Fort Lauderdale from the defensive end, able to go forward, a fast transition, able to play this ball up, and McCain is the one to get the finish. She knows that she can score against Lexington at will, and she's finally done it tonight.
It's exactly what Marin McCreary had feared when we talked to her earlier this week. They wanted to stop those crosses from the outside in to find Addie McCain, and that's exactly how Fort Lauderdale jumps out in front tonight. And the Golden Boot leader, he's right on the cusp of double digits in this USL Super League season. Of course, all Fort Lauderdale United goals are brought to you by Baptist Health, as a player is down for United here. That is Hamid, who quickly gets back up to her feet after a harsh challenge. I should mention as well that Claire Winter is on a yellow card. Has to be careful in moments like that. Fort Lauderdale get the free kick after taking the lead. Well, the Lexington resistance is broken. Now how do the visitors respond after they fall behind against Fort Lauderdale for a second time this season?
Well, we do know Lexington can score some goals of their own as well. They didn't get much offensive production in the first half. I would like to see them send more players going forward, especially now that they're down a goal. This is a perfect example. Get those defenders up the flanks, join into the offensive attack.
Referee played advantage here after that challenge came in. Weeks actually made a really good run. The ball never got to her. As Fort Lauderdale reset, it's interesting as well. Last time these two met here, it's exactly how the game played out. Addie McCain scored first, but then Lexington did come back and win that game in the second half. So we will see if they can do it again tonight. Reverse ball threaded through Locklear, and in the end, Gordon see it flash by and out of play.
Skiba did a good job at cutting off that angle on the McCain goal, but McCain just able to slip it by. That's such a sweet goal where you just use the outside of your foot, just kind of fake the keeper out.
It's easier said than done to keep your cool in those kind of 1v1 moments, and McCain, it looked like a stroll through the park. And it might be another chance here as that ricochets out for a corner off a good feed into the penalty area. And Fort Lauderdale looking to use this newfound momentum, and they will get another all-year cooling and plumbing corner to work with on the far side. Some dangerous times here for Lexington, trying to stop the bleeding early in the second half. And it was nearly a free header for Gordon, and then Gordon took on the shot. It was blocked away, and it's going to be helped along out for a throw-in to the hosts. It's touched down the line by Hamid. Locklear, again, it was a good ball. Nobody home in blue. And it is going to be kept in play. Gordon never gave up on it. Shania Gordon keeps on trying to make something happen, and she wins a corner on this near side.
That's nice hustle by Gordon there, not giving up on the play.
So another all-year cooling and plumbing corner in quick succession here. Smith to take. Fans getting behind the hosts here, trying to double their lead. Smith. Touched by McCain towards the 6-yard box. It ricochets out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick.
So let's see now if Lexington can build something from the back. Get this ball up and get those players in support of the offensive attack players.
We roll through those halftime highlights, and both teams at times struggle to create clear-cut chances, but well, it helps when you've got Addie McCain on your side, in Fort Lauderdale are flooding forward again here. Oh, it was nearly a second. Right on the doorstep. And Taylor Smith has to track it down after no one got a critical touch. Smith for Raji. Lindahl will fully reset the attack. And then was there a foul there? Yes. Parsons through the back. And it's a free kick as Ansbro was brought down.
These are some dangerous balls that Fort Lauderdale is putting in the box right now.
That goal from McCain currently has Fort Lauderdale. We told you they can move up a couple places tonight. Third in the live table. They score one or two more, they might even have a chance to finish as high as second at the end of the night. We'll have to wait and see on that. Raji from the set piece. Oh, it was a chance for McCain, who touches it down nicely here, and it's Skiba who parries it over the top and denies Gordon.
Gordon unhappy with her decision there, and I don't blame her. She hit it right into Skiba, and there was a wide open goal. So much space, she could have went anywhere, and it was right at Skiba. How upset is she right now?
Out it goes for another corner here, brought to you by All Year Cooling and Plumbing. More pressure mounting on the Lexington goal. And it's headed high into the air and back out, and we're gonna have another corner right after that one. These are the moments where Lexington really have to stand up and be counted defensively here. Trying to keep it at just the one. And from the corner again, sort of pinballed around in there, the volley from the outskirts of the penalty area took another deflection. It's gonna be another All Year Cooling and Plumbing corner.
Lexington really needs to get organized, really needs to get their composure back.
Smith will try yet again. Goes right to the edge of the 6-yard box, and you guessed it, we got another one, this time from the near side.
All Year Cooling and Plumbing, they are getting their money's worth tonight with all these corners.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Another All Year Cooling and Plumbing corner. Marion McCreary a little bit more concerned now. Lexington down one, hoping to keep it that way for now. Fort Lauderdale, it's been corner after corner. Smith tries again. It's a flicked on header. It just goes past Hamid, who wasn't quite ready for it, but she recollects the possession. In the end, Lexington do force Fort Lauderdale to retreat. But it has been a really good, about 5-minute stretch now from the host, bearing down on the Lexington net. Locklear couldn't get a touch on it. McCain keeps the ball alive for Hamid on the far side. McCain again. Hamid again. Hamid will shoot. In the end, she bails Lexington out. So that goes out for a goal kick, and well, Marion McCreary's not going to let it lie down. She's going to make a couple of Omega XL Sport changes here. Hannah White, who she's been really impressed with as of late, is going to come on. That's going to be it for Hannah Richardson. And Claire Winter, one of the leaders on this team, is sitting on a yellow. She'll come out, and Libby Moore will take her place. So that's 3 of the 5 Lexington changes used as they try to turn things around here. We're approaching the hour mark.
And we know Hannah Richardson isn't quite 100%, so that's definitely a good sub, I think, for Lexington. And Claire Winter on that yellow card. Better safe than sorry.
Had that challenge earlier as well. That was a bit borderline, sitting on that yellow card. Wonder if that maybe put the thought in Marion McCreary's head to make that change. Goal from Addie McCain has Fort Lauderdale ahead, and potentially putting them right back into the top 3 of the USL Super League at the end of the night. The run here from Vaca. She spreads it out to the far side. It's been constant Fort Lauderdale pressure over these last 5 or 6 minutes at the start of the second half. Grosso running out of room. 2 players on her. And was she tripped? Yes, that's the outcome. It's a free kick for Fort Lauderdale.
This can be a very deadly situation here where this kick is. Same as a corner. So they're racking them up on Fort Lauderdale.
Can Lexington stick together here, keep their focus? Another ball clipped in. It's headed high into the air, not quite cleared yet. And McCain just headed it forward. There was nobody there. Still not quite cleared. And Fort Lauderdale do well to win a throw-in on this near side to the extra effort. And Lindahl will take it. Lindahl's throw, Locklear lays it off. Actually sat up quite nicely initially there, but it's going to be recycled for Raji. And then Hamid. Raji again. Some time and space for Vaca. And then Raji picks out Lindahl. And that pass is cut out before it could get to Gordon, but Fort Lauderdale keep it.
What a difference compared to the first half. Fort Lauderdale just bringing everything, bringing all the heat forward.
As if the ongoing lane's been cut out. It's been one-way traffic for Fort
really
Lauderdale
has.
in the second half. Another chance on the far side here. Pass is slithered through for Locklear. Hamid will take on the shot and score! What about that? Jasmine Hamid with a juggernaut of a strike to give Fort Lauderdale a 2-0 lead. It flew in.
What a strike off of her foot. The pace and the ability for her to keep it nice, hard, low, and on target. Next level skill by Hamid.
It's Hamid's 5th goal of the season, and surely it's the best of the bunch.
You can barely even see that ball come off her foot. The speed of release is so quick, and she only needs a little bit of space. She took that space, and she scored.
Remember, all Fort Lauderdale United goals this season brought to you by Baptist Health, and what a strike from Hamid. That's got to be one of the better ones we've seen in the Super League this season.
And if there wasn't a net there to stop that ball, it might still be going. I mean, that had some pace on it.
Just seemed like there was nothing on for her, and then she just fired it into the top corner. My goodness. And now Lexington, we just talked about it, how they were trying to keep it at the 1 while the pressure has led to a second. And the visitors are in a bit of trouble now. But they win a free kick here on the near side after the work done by Julie Mackin. I'll stay up to date with the USL Super League. Sign up for the Super Newsletter. Get news about your favorite team and stories from around the league delivered to your inbox weekly. Sign up at uslsuperleague.com/newsletter. Good catch in traffic by Morshey. Well, if the newsletter's looking for a picture to put up on their weekly emails, Jasmine Hamid might not be a bad pick.
And guess what? This is now 5 games in a row. Fort Lauderdale has scored 2 goals. Pretty impressive.
If it stands, it'll lead to 5, unbeaten in the league as well.
It's one way to climb the table.
I was going to say, certainly not a coincidence.
Yeah.
That one has led to the other. Rare miscue there, though, from Fort Lauderdale at the back. Quick throw in by Shane Moyer to get it back into play for Lexington, who are in dire need of a response here. Here's Gordon on the turn. Shania Gordon is able to keep possession here, and she strides further forward. Has Hamid to her left, and she lays it off for Hamid. Surely not again. This time she tries the back heel, and she commits the foul. It almost sat up nicely for her again from the, well, almost the identical position.
It's scary how little space she needs to get a shot off. I mean, that shot release is so quick.
This time Lexington just about able to stop her in her tracks after the defensive work by Courtney Jones. But now you start looking up at the clock, and Lexington are running a bit short on time. 25 minutes to try to climb their way back. Now Lexington now, again, would jump up to 3rd in the live table. One more goal, though, and they would jump up to 2nd on goal differential. Not that it's a super big deal right now. As a shot comes in here, that bounces wide of Morshey's goal and out for a goal kick. Lexington need more moments like that in the final third of creating some chances.
They definitely do.
And Maren McCrary appreciates a little bit of life in the final third there for her side.
And this is the hard thing, right? You want Lexington's players to get forward, to join the attack. But when they do, that leaves them open for the counterattack and leaves them down defensively. With the scoreline now, I would still just go for it and push those players forward.
Here's Hamid again, leading the attack for Fort Lauderdale. At the byline, the cross into the middle, looking for Gordon. He's going to be touched out of play. And you guessed it, it's an all-year cooling and plumbing corner. Fort Lauderdale have had a boatload of them in this second half. Fort Lauderdale taking complete command here in the second half. They'd love to slam the door shut by scoring another one here. Smith to deliver. It's right to the heart of the penalty area. McCain takes a swing at it. It's cleared off the line. Another chance, this time Ansbro also cleared away. It was so clogged on that far left post. It was tough to tell who actually blocked it, but it was blocked. Fort Lauderdale trying to keep it alive on the far side. It just rolled over the end line. It's a throw-in. Another close call inside the penalty area. Now can Lexington bring themselves back into the match here? Vernus leading the charge. Vernus to the near side. Mackin, first time ball in, it ricochets around. Still not cleared. The re-entry. He's sent out of the penalty area, and McCain is able to, well, control it and then lead to the clearance. Lexington get it back again. Johnson up ahead. Vernus lays it off, and then a chance to thread the needle with more. But again, Fort Lauderdale are able to clean it up.
And you can see Lexington sending those players forward now.
Challenge there from Weeks. It's a fair one, although maybe Fort Lauderdale weren't convinced. Ticking down on the final 20 minutes here. Near side, Mackin tried to play in Parsons, but it came up short. Mackin again, and then it's just sent upfield by Lindahl. Does look like Lexington are getting a change ready on that near side. We'll get to that in a minute. Looks like Kate Doyle getting set to come on for the visitors here. Mackin, near side Parsons. And Parsons slipped as he tried to cross it. It trickles out of play. And that is, I believe, gonna lead us to an Omega XL Sport substitution here for Lexington before the ball is put back into play, and it looks like that is going to be the last touch of the night for Maddie Parsons. She will leave us, and Kate Doyle is on for the final 20 minutes.
Kate Doyle is one of those players that Coach Marion McCrary said is due for a breakout game. She had such a great break and is coming into form, so it's going to be exciting to see her play tonight.
Gordon up ahead for Locklear. It slides through. Can Locklear finish here? It's a wonderful step over, and it's a really good block. Shepard denies her. And Fort Lauderdale will settle for a throw. That was wonderful skill here.
Yeah, just another excellent opportunity for Fort Lauderdale. Nice little step over outside the in to fake the defender, but not enough room to get a shot off.
I think it's definitely safe to say now that Fort Lauderdale in this second half have more than found their footing.
They're winning the chess match for sure. Whatever Coach Tyrone said at halftime, it worked.
Yeah, they've taken a couple of bishops and rooks off the board.
Yes.
I think that's fair to say. Another chance here for Fort Lauderdale. The layoff for McCain. And McCain threads it through. This is Smith. Smith lets it roll to the byline. Raji. And still Raji. Trying to pick out a teammate at the back stick. And a chance for Lindahl, who is able to keep it alive. Raji again. And then this time forced to go back to Vaca. McCain around the corner. Further down the line by Grasso, Hamid. And then McCain fully resets the attack. Loose touch by Raji, you rarely see that. Can Lexington pounce on it? Ball was threaded through in behind for White, but Fort Lauderdale are able to put out the fire. Smith. And Lindahl. Lindahl. To the byline, and she will win a corner, yes, on the near side. Coming down on the final 15 minutes here. Fort Lauderdale trying to extend this unbeaten run to 5 in a row without defeat, and they're actually gonna make their first change of the night here. Shania Gordon is going to come out, and Jorian Bokum will take her place. It's another Omega XL Sport substitution for an all-year cooling and plumbing corner. Lots of positive play from Gordon tonight, I think that's fair to say. And Bokum is not a bad substitute to bring in, showing the depth a bit. From the corner, McCain couldn't quite redirect it. Fort Lauderdale recycle, 15 minutes plus stoppages to go.
Just a possession from Fort Lauderdale. This second half has been amazing. Over 66% right now. They're keeping the game flow, they're keeping the pace, they're keeping the tempo.
Hamid. To McCain, the two goal scorers linking up. Smith leaves it for Locklear. Locklear to the byline, another step over. Great ball across, and it just went past Hamid's head. Throw in for Fort Lauderdale after another close call.
Fort Lauderdale is looking so dangerous. These balls in the box just needs a little bit of a touch, a little bit of a redirect to put it on goal.
From the throw, great touch into space, another tough shot from a difficult angle. But this time Skiba maybe a bit thankful that that one went well wide.
And who is this second half Fort Lauderdale team? This is not who was playing in the first half. He needs to keep in his pocket whatever he said to them at halftime for a very, very important game.
It's been a bit night and day, isn't it?
Complete change.
And it's been wave after wave of Fort Lauderdale attack for pretty much the whole second half to this point.
They haven't stopped.
Lexington's opportunities have become even fewer and far between. Well, the inaugural USL Super League season, of course, well underway. Visit USLSuperLeague.com for all the latest information, analysis, and insight into all things Super League. Again, Spokane winning earlier tonight against Dallas. That was probably the upset of the night by quite a distance. And then the other game that's being played in Florida tonight, Tampa Bay 1, Brooklyn 1 was the final score. So Brooklyn held to just the 1 point, but they stay unbeaten. I think both teams, in the end, something to take. I think they'll take that. Such a tightly contested contest there. Can Lexington find a lifeline here? Hannah White lays it off. Moyer went for the spectacular and ends up shoveling it out of play.
Not much on the back end of that. Morshea just going to take her time now with this goal kick.
One of the things that Fort Lauderdale did have some struggles with was game management, especially in the latter part of the first half of the season. This is that kind of time in the game. Manage the minutes a bit and try to work your way to getting it over the line. From Tyrone Mears' point of view, don't give Lexington a chance, I should say, to get back into it. Bochum does really well initially on the near side, caught up to by Weeks, and Fort Lauderdale will get another throw in. And then immediately from the throw, Fort Lauderdale do give it back. Well, performances like this, you start to wonder, right? You look at the table, you see where Tampa Bay is, where Dallas is. A lot of people, of course, looking up at Brooklyn right now. Carolina, who was, of course, the longest unbeaten team earlier in the year. Can Fort Lauderdale consistently stay in that hierarchy of the USL Super League as Bochum commits a foul here?
And it seems like they're in form right now, right? Unbeaten the last 5 games, if this holds still like it is. And that's what you want, right? End the fall season, have a good break, coming into this spring season reignited with fire in your eyes, and this is it.
Hamid again, picked off the pass, tried to shoot, and thought she was fouled in the process of shooting. It's a goal kick. That was another common theme among coaches at the end of the fall season. Carry the momentum into the spring and play your best soccer at that time of the year. Fort Lauderdale are pretty darn close to that right now.
And I'm sure there was a lot of adjustments with it being the first time that everyone's had this type of break, right? Obviously players went home, they saw families, they saw friends. You know, when do you return? Brooklyn went to Italy. Other teams went to Florida early so they could get used to this. Lexington came down a few days early because they couldn't even train in Kentucky.
Maren McCreary joked with us that it was nice to see some sun out for once. Can they get a glimmer of hope here? Mackin's ball in behind. Too tall, and it's a goal kick. Lexington's running out of time and maybe running a little bit short on ideas when they get into the final third. Some of that, of course, has to be credited to Fort Lauderdale and the way they've buckled down in the second half, but Lexington have just not created as much as we had anticipated tonight. Fort Lauderdale, meanwhile, have had no such problem, and they come forward again here. McCain trying to poke it along for Raji, and Raji is dispossessed. In transition, can Lexington start to create a little bit more? That one is well behind White. And now Hamid played in behind with the early ball, but it hits the numbers of Courtney Jones. Vernus out wide. Doyle was calling for it. Lexington again can continue the move on this near side. Mackin will win a throw. A little mishap as far as the balls are concerned on the near side. Mackin ready to get it back in play. White. Chopping it back a couple of times, looking for space for the cross. It's going to be headed away by Hamid. Not cleared yet. Jones picks up the pieces. Courtney Jones, great challenge by Hamid. Still work to do though. Jones again. Long distance shot. He's gonna flash wide again off the boot of Moore. And it's gonna be a goal kick. And it's gonna be a substitution here for Fort Lauderdale. Tati Fung is going to come on. And Daria Raji is going to exit after a strong game. It's another Omega XL Sport substitution. Just Fort Lauderdale's second of the night.
Raji had a good game tonight. I love what ball control she has and how she dances on the ball. Keeps those defenders guessing.
Some Lexington pressure there, easily handled. Morshea will clear it, but she does give it away on this near side. Hannah White surging ahead, caught up to by Locklear, but she cuts away. And the cross is blocked. It's going to find its way, though, in the middle of the penalty area. And in the end, McCain will send it forward. And a foot race will break out here, one that will see the ball trickle out of play. And that leaves Lexington with just 5 minutes plus stoppage time left.
This half flew by, and I think it was the excitement that Fort Lauderdale brought. I mean, just from really not many opportunities in the first half to it just felt like a million in this second half.
Ooh, challenge here and a yellow card is going to come out. I think that's going to go Delaney Lindahl's way for Fort Lauderdale United. First player for the hosts to see a yellow card tonight, and it's a free kick for Lexington. We get a second look.
Just tough, right? Because it was almost like McCain was the one that was pushing her on the back. Tough call there.
Well, if it's going to happen for Lexington, they're going to have to get the first goal very quickly here. White with an early ball in behind, and it's a miscued clearance. That'll help Lexington's cause. It's out for a corner. They haven't had many in the second half. Can the visitors give themselves a puncher's chance here? From the set piece, Morshea didn't quite deal with that, but the header is gonna go wide and out for a goal kick. I believe that's gonna lead to another change or two here for Fort Lauderdale. Felicia Knox is getting set to come on, and Thelma Hermansdottir is also being prepared. Looks like Locklear is going to come out. And Taylor Smith is also going to exit on a double change here, brought to you by Omega XL Sport. That leaves Fort Lauderdale with one change left. There's a player down for Lexington. Meanwhile, in the penalty area, being stretched out. Looks like it's Sydney Shepard, who needs a minute or two. Gives us a brief chance to recap the game a bit. It was all going so well for Lexington defensively at the half.
The half.
And then halftime happened and everything changed.
Most definitely did, right? It was a bunch of happy Lexington players going into half. Their goal was to get a shutout today. It was happening at halftime until about the 45th, 46th minute when McCain just changed the game. And it wasn't even just that goal, right? Fort Lauderdale has not stopped. The ball has been in their offensive third almost the entire half.
It's been led by the 1-2 punch, McCain and Hamid, as Shepard is back on. Like you alluded to, Christine, it's been a team effort and it has been relentless from Fort Lauderdale. They've been really impressive tonight, particularly in the second 45. And Hamid and McCain have the 2 goals that have them on course for 3 points and a jump all the way up to 3rd place in the league. I will make a mention as well, we didn't have any stoppage time at the end of the first half, which is a rarity. So we'll see about second half stoppage time. I've got a sneaky suspicion we're going to have at least a few minutes. We'll have to wait and see on that. Now the ball fluttered through there again. It's going to be picked off. Fort Lauderdale back in control of possession. Early ball up ahead. Herman's daughter gives it a look and nearly got onto the end of it in the end. But it is a goal kick.
And we've had a bunch of calls this season with the Lexington coaching staff. And one of the things they've always said, they need to put together a full 90. And here they had an awesome first 45. The second 45, not so much. So that is frustrating as a coaching staff.
And we're going to have 4 added minutes at the end of this one. And well, again, as long as we don't see a comeback here, Lexington will stay bottom of the league heading into tomorrow's action. And Fort Lauderdale, again, would jump up into 3rd position, level on points with 2nd place Dallas. So a lot of moving and shaking. And then again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Before we shift things over, of course, into the month of March. Tomorrow, of course, Carolina Ascent against DC Power. Another 3 p.m. kickoff right back here on Peacock.
Movers and shakers, what the league is about today.
Lindahl tried to thread the needle down the line. Herman's daughter not able to get to it. Next up for Fort Lauderdale, March 2nd, they play Carolina Ascent. Another big game as far as the top end of the table, and that's just 6 days before Fort Lauderdale welcomes Tampa Bay Sun here. So a couple of big games coming up where you talk about moving and shaking. Fort Lauderdale will have a chance to make a claim for top spot if they can get through those 2 games with some points on the board.
Especially with the form they're in right now.
Another surge forward here. Lexington will deal with it. And Autumn Weeks will clear it for now. Doesn't get any easier for Lexington. 1st of March, they're back in action on Saturday. And they will take on Brooklyn. And again, all those games right here on Peacock. Vernis up ahead. This could be a chance here. Doyle, with about a minute and a half left, cutting to the byline and running out of room. And that sort of sums up Lexington's night in the final third.
Unlucky there. It was a good build-up, good offensive attack, unable to finish, unable to get that final pass into the box.
And Morshea knows that there's probably about a minute left, and we'll send this clear, getting into the dying embers of this one. Mackin dispossessed. And the ball for Welcome in the end, cut out. Final seconds here, Mackin up the field. Vaca with a good challenge, wins it back for Fort Lauderdale. And Morshea, under some pressure, gets it right back to Vaca. Somehow Fort Lauderdale walked the tightrope there, but it is out for a throw, and there was a little bit of afters there. Vaca, a little extra, and she's booked as well for that.
A little unnecessary frustration there with Vaca.
It's a throw, and it's for what Vaca did after the ball went out of play, left a little bit extra. This will likely be the last major act. Fort Lauderdale throw as the 4 minutes have elapsed. Well, all in all, Fort Lauderdale came out in the second half and were excellent. Maybe one of the best halves Fort Lauderdale have played this season. Goals from Hamid and McCain leading the way, and Fort Lauderdale win it by 2-0 over Lexington. Fort Lauderdale United are now 5 matches unbeaten in a row in the USL Super League, and they haven't lost, break included, since November 23rd of 2024. United are picking up steam at the right time of the season, and despite a valiant effort in the first half, Lexington drop another one on the road, and they are now bottom of the USL Super League before they welcome Brooklyn at the beginning of March.
And what form Fort Lauderdale is in right now, scoring 2 goals in the last 5 games to continue their 5-match unbeaten streak.
Really impressive from Fort Lauderdale United tonight. Chance to take a look at tonight's save of the game. It's presented by Omega XL Sport, and based on the difficulty or lack thereof of this save, tells you a lot about how Fort Lauderdale stopped Lexington from creating many big chances tonight.
Not a lot of work done by Morshea tonight, but that's our save of the game.
No question, as far as our performer of the game, it's brought to you by Baptist Health. Jasmine Hamid, with maybe one of the goals of the inaugural Super League season, had to choose her, even though McCain also played really well.
Add it to the highlights of the Super League season so far, because that was one of the most well-struck shots I've seen.
Really impressive, particularly in the second 45 from Fort Lauderdale United tonight. They take care of Lexington by 2-0, and they're now 3rd place in the USL Super League. Highlights and stats to wrap things up when we come back.
We're excited to announce the winner of our Delta Airlines raffle for 4 round-trip flights. Thank you to everyone who participated and supported our team. The winner of this incredible Delta prize is Lisa Evolvi. Lisa, you get an email coming your way with further instructions. Congratulations, Lisa. You just won 4 round-trip flights courtesy of Delta Airlines. Please make your way to Lexington and claim your prize. Thank you all for being here tonight, supporting women's professional soccer, and more importantly, for supporting your Fort Lauderdale United. So make sure to stick around after the game for play autographs and photos. Concessions will remain open, so grab a set and hang out with your favorite team, your Fort Lauderdale United. And again, back this exciting matchup, we want to remind you of market calendars for the upcoming game. Your Fort Lauderdale United will face off against Trom FC. Then the 2023 NWSL champions are going to be right here. As your Fort Lauderdale United will take on Trom Wednesday, February 26th. Get better cheer on your team. Grab your tickets at FTLUTP.com. And bring your friends and family for a historic night, as this is the first time ever a USL Super League team will be taking on an NWSL team right here.
Welcome back, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew. Happy to have you with us. Fort Lauderdale beats Lexington by 2-0 tonight, and we are very happy to be joined by Jasmine Hamid from Fort Lauderdale United. Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, congratulations on the win. Can you take us through that amazing goal that you scored, and where does it rank amongst goals you've scored in your career?
I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. It's just, sorry, I'm like still taking it in the moment, but it was just touch, finish, look at the goal, and put it where I want it, so.
Your team in the second half was absolutely amazing offensively. What did the coaching staff say to you at halftime to make those changes and get those offensive chances?
Pretty much going into the half, he wanted us wingers to attack their back line more, and I feel like we did that a lot more in the second half, just like getting the ball and beating the outside backs. I think we came out a lot stronger as a team in the second half for sure.
Jasmine, thanks so much for spending some time with us, and congratulations on the win. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Great stuff from Jasmine. Great stuff from Fort Lauderdale, really, from start to finish, particularly in the second half. We jump in to full-time highlights presented by Blue Water Books and Charts. And, well, again, there was some moments early on for Lexington. They definitely held on defensively and did really well. And then Fort Lauderdale exploded in the second half.
Absolutely exploded. I mean, a tale of two halves. They didn't do much offensively in the first half. And then all of a sudden, just an onslaught of shots, of goals, of corner kicks. Lexington could not clear the ball out of their own half.
That was McCain's 9th goal of the season, 5th against Lexington in the Super League. And then Jasmine Hamid with a moment of magic.
Chalk this up, one of the best goals of this season. I mean, the pace that it is coming off of her laces and just zips into the back of the net, absolutely unbelievable.
No wonder she's our performer of the game. What a finish that was, and Fort Lauderdale certainly finished with a flourish. Full-time stats brought to you by Beyond Bankard look like this. Lexington, again, some shots, but not a ton of shots on target. I don't think they had any in the second half.
And the big thing is Fort Lauderdale in that second half was in their offensive third the entire time, which led to those goals.
And again, for Fort Lauderdale, that means 5 unbeaten on the bounce, and they're now 3rd place in the USL Super League. Really fun game here in South Florida tonight. For Christine Huber and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long here on Peacock. Really impressive from Fort Lauderdale in the second half. McCain and Hamid with the goals, and Fort Lauderdale win it by 2-0 here on Peacock. More great action tomorrow. We will see you then.